Christmas was supposed to be different. But when I walked in, my family shut me out. I left everything behind, but the real shock came when I learned their secret. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Christmas had always been chaos, sure. But this year? This year, I was prepared. I bought presents for everyone, my parents, my sister, her husband, their kids. I even picked up some extras just in case. For once, I wasn't going to be the guy who waited till the last minute to scramble everything together. I was going to own it. But when I showed up at my parents' house, I wasn't expecting to feel the cold hit me in the chest before the door even opened. The moment my dad swung it open, I knew something was wrong. Not this year, son, he said, as if it were just another typical Tuesday. But it wasn't. I had the gifts in my hands, wrapped carefully with love, because, damn it, I wanted this year to be different. I wanted to be seen, really seen. But now, standing there in front of him, I felt like a fool. My sister, Jacqueline, appeared behind him. She didn't even look at me. Her arms were crossed, a smug expression painted on her face like she knew this was all inevitable. "This is no place for losers," she said, her voice dripping with something that tasted bitter, smug. "You've been too much of a hassle lately." I stood there, just staring at her, my chest tightening. Did she really just say that? I looked at my parents, searching for any sign of support. But my mom was oddly quiet. She wouldn't even meet my eyes. Dad shifted uncomfortably, but he didn't step in. I swallowed hard. Are you serious? After everything I've done for this family? There was a coldness in the air now. The words felt like they were thick with ice. My father just sighed, as if I were the one overreacting. "We've been meaning to talk to you," he muttered, but I couldn't focus on the words anymore. It was like my hearing shut off, the blood rushing in my ears drowning out their excuses. "Jack, don't do this," I said, my voice low, trying to make her see that I was family. "I've been the one picking up the pieces for years. You know that." But Jacqueline's face never changed. "Not anymore," she shot back. I stood there, the bags of gifts in my hands, the weight of them suddenly feeling much heavier. For a split second, I thought maybe I had misheard them. That maybe they were joking. But I knew they weren't. "Fine," I said, the words slipping out quietly. "If that's how you feel, then I'm done." I turned on my heel, not waiting for their response, and walked back to my car. The cold wind cut through me like a slap, and for a moment, I just stood there, staring at the bags of presents in the passenger seat. It felt like I was suffocating under the weight of it. And then it hit me. They didn't want me. They didn't need me. They thought they could throw me out like I was nothing, just a footnote in their perfect little lives. Well, if they didn't need me, then maybe it was time I stopped trying to fit into their world. Without another word, I pulled out my phone and booked a vacation. The kind I'd always told myself I couldn't afford. I didn't care about the cost anymore. I wasn't just getting away. No, this was a statement. By the time I reached the airport, I was already feeling a sense of calm wash over me. My flight was first class, comfortable, a little indulgent, but it didn't matter. I uploaded a picture of myself in the lounge, legs stretched out, drink in hand, with a simple caption, "Guess I got cut from the guest list, but I think I'll survive." Within seconds, my phone lit up with notifications. My mom, my sister, everyone. A message from my mom. "Where are you?" Another one, a follow-up. "Are you seriously missing your sister's wedding?" And another. "This is childish, I'm done with this." I didn't respond. Not yet. The more I sat there, sipping my champagne, the more it hit me just how much I deserved this. A break. A moment where I wasn't expected to clean up after everyone. A moment where I wasn't the backup plan. I leaned back, the smooth leather of the seat surrounding me like a cocoon. For once, I wasn't the one who was going to get walked on. For once, it was going to be their turn to figure things out without me. When I landed, the heat hit me like a warm blanket, the air thick with salt and something else, freedom. The resort I booked wasn't just a getaway, it was everything. I'd worked hard for this. I wasn't going to let anyone, least of all my family, take it away from me. A private car whisked me away, the driver silently navigating through lush, sun-kissed roads. The resort was exactly what I needed, spacious, luxurious, completely removed from the chaos of my past life. I'd forgotten what it felt like to be treated like a priority. It wasn't just about the escape, though. It was about a clean break. I didn't have to answer their calls. I didn't have to listen to my mom's passive-aggressive remarks or my sister's smug comments. For once, I was allowed to exist without constantly worrying about being the one to hold everything together. I snapped another photo, the view from my private balcony stretching out over the sparkling ocean, and posted it with the caption, "When one door closes, another one opens. This one leads to an oceanfront suite with margaritas." The responses were quick, almost too quick. My cousins laughed it off. My aunt? She actually said, "Good for you. Should have taken me with you." But then came the message from my mother. "Where are you? You're seriously going to miss your sister's wedding for this? This is childish, stop being dramatic." I just smirked and put my phone down. I wasn't about to let them manipulate me into guilt. Not this time. They had always used my empathy against me, twisted it until I felt like I was the one at fault. Well, screw that. This time, I was doing this for me. The resort felt unreal. The lobby was massive, open to the sea breeze, palm trees towering above me like sentinels. The staff were attentive without being overbearing, bringing me champagne before I even asked for it. Everything was just right. I couldn't remember the last time I had experienced peace. That night, I took my time. The private dinner on the beach, the sound of waves crashing in the distance. I sat there, savoring each bite, the cool breeze against my skin. The world felt like it was shrinking down to just me and my thoughts. I posted another picture, this time of my dessert, an extravagant thing made of chocolate and passion fruit, captioned, "You know, I think I'm going to make my own family this Christmas." I wasn't trying to be petty. I wasn't trying to get revenge. I just wanted them to see, for once, what it felt like to be left out. To feel what I had felt for years, unwanted, unneeded, a second-class citizen in my own family. The next few days were pure indulgence. The mornings were spent by the pool, a cold cocktail in hand, basking in the sun. I took long walks on the beach. I enjoyed silence, no calls, no obligations, no one demanding anything from me. It felt liberating. But then, just as I was starting to settle in, the calls began. I ignored the first few. They kept coming, though, texts, missed calls. It wasn't just my mother anymore. It was my sister. Jack. Even a message from my aunt. They wanted to know where I was, why I wasn't picking up, why I hadn't called them back. The guilt trip started. They said Emily was devastated. They said it was all going to fall apart without me. But I didn't care. I didn't care about their drama. I didn't care about their needs. For once, I was the priority. By the fifth day, I was lying on a private yacht for a sunset cruise, my thoughts clear and unburdened. I hadn't looked at my phone in hours. This was the life I had been working for. The life I had dreamed of but never thought I deserved. That's when my phone lit up again. A text from my sister, Emily. She was panicked. "Answer your phone, please. We need you here." For the first time in forever, I felt no need to rush. No need to scramble. No obligation. I'd made my decision. I smiled to myself. She had finally noticed. I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled up a picture of my breakfast from the morning, an elaborate spread with fresh fruit, eggs Benedict, and a mimosa, and posted it with the caption, "Starting my day stress-free. Hope everyone back home is doing okay." I wasn't going back. I wasn't going to fix their messes. This was my life now. The morning after, my phone exploded. First, it was my mom. Then Emily. Then Jack. They were frantic. The texts were full of urgency. Emily was crying. My mom was pleading. They had a crisis. My sister's wedding had fallen apart. The groom had left her at the altar. I sat back, a smirk curling on my lips. It was better than I could have imagined. I checked the group chat, my heart pounding with a mix of schadenfreude and something else, satisfaction. As it turned out, Emily had gone into full meltdown mode. The groom had walked out, the family had spiraled, and everyone was trying to play damage control. Jack was even more frantic now. I paused, then sent a simple message back to the group chat. "Sorry, I'm a little busy enjoying my overreaction. Hope the wedding was fun." I blocked them all. I couldn't believe how sweet it felt. By day 7, I had fully embraced my new life. The pressure, the guilt, the endless expectations, they felt like distant memories now. Each day passed in a blur of luxury, but I had to admit, something inside me was shifting. Maybe it was the peace, or maybe it was the creeping satisfaction of knowing they were all scrambling back home. I hadn't heard from them for a couple of days. The storm was brewing, I could feel it through the lack of messages. That was until the following morning when my phone buzzed like a live wire. It was my mom. "You need to stop acting like a child and call me. Emily is devastated. You need to fix this. You're the only one who can." I didn't even flinch. I was done. I set the phone down on the glass table in front of me and walked to the balcony. The air here was warm, tropical, the kind that wraps around you like a protective cocoon. The waves crashed gently in the distance, and for the first time in years, I felt free. But my phone kept buzzing. And buzzing. Then another notification. "Emily." I picked it up and read the message from my sister. You don't care about me. You've ruined everything. You have no idea what's going on. Mom's losing it. Please, just answer me. I didn't respond. Instead, I went for a swim in the crystal clear water. It was strange how soothing it was. Almost meditative. I lost track of time, and when I emerged from the water, I had completely forgotten about the storm raging back home. I checked my phone just once, enough to see there were now a dozen missed calls from my mother. They were begging, pleading. There was even a voicemail from Jack, his voice cracking as he asked me to come back and fix everything. I grinned. The satisfaction was undeniable. Later that evening, when I finally sat down to enjoy a meal by the beach, I checked the notifications again. This time, there was a message from Emily. It wasn't like the others, though. This one was different. Answer me, please. I'm sorry for everything. I know I hurt you. I need you here. This is the worst day of my life. The words hit me harder than I expected. For a moment, I felt something deep inside stirred guilt, maybe? A flicker of empathy? But then, just as quickly, the thought passed. This was their mess. Not mine. I decided then, I would let them stew. I wasn't going to fix things for them anymore. If they wanted me back in their lives, they had to earn it. And I wasn't ready to come back yet. The next morning, I woke up to a fresh round of texts from my family. This time, the tone had shifted. It was less about guilt and more about desperation. We need you here now. It's out of control. It was from my mother. The following text was from Jack. I don't care about the past. I just need you to be here. But what caught my attention was the last message. From Emily. Please, for once in your life, think about someone besides yourself. We need you. I need you. For a moment, I hesitated. I wanted to reply, to tear into them for the years of neglect, for the way they had used me. But I held back. Instead, I just deleted the message. They thought they could break me. That I would come running back as soon as they waved a flag of desperation. But they underestimated me. I spent the day lounging on the beach, diving into a good book and sipping on cold cocktails. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, I decided to test just how far they would go. I posted a picture of the sunset, the sky lit up in vibrant colors, my toes buried in the sand, the ocean stretching out in front of me. It was perfect. Here's to new beginnings. Cheers to not looking back. The likes and comments rolled in, but the best reaction came from my aunt. Good for you. You deserve this. I hope they're learning a lesson. I smiled to myself. I hadn't expected it, but it felt damn good. The next few days passed in much the same way, me, slowly drifting away from the chaos. My phone stayed on Do Not Disturb mode. I had no need for their drama anymore. The beach was my sanctuary, and as long as I stayed here, I was untouchable. And then came the bombshell. One afternoon, I checked my phone to find a text from my aunt. It read, "You might want to hear this. It's about Emily." I didn't reply immediately. Instead, I opened the text. She had forwarded a series of messages from Emily's phone, all timestamped from the day of the wedding. There were texts from Emily to a mutual friend of ours, someone I hadn't spoken to in years. The messages were shocking. Emily had been hiding a secret of her own. "I'm not ready to get married. I've been feeling so trapped. I don't want to do this anymore. I can't back out now. Everyone expects it. I'm just going to go through with it, but I don't know how much longer I can keep pretending." That hit me like a punch to the gut. All this time, all this drama, and Emily was the one who didn't want the wedding in the first place. I smiled to myself as I read the messages again. The strings were finally unraveling, and I couldn't help but feel vindicated. I didn't know how to feel about Emily anymore. Part of me wanted to reach out and say something, anything, but I quickly stopped myself. No, not this time. She had made her choices, and I had made mine. I had left, and I wasn't coming back until I saw fit. But then, as I sat back and reflected, I realized something. This wasn't just about them. It wasn't about the family. It was about me, finally living for myself. I finished my drink, stood up, and walked to the water's edge. There was no turning back now. A week passed. I let the luxury of the resort wash over me like a tide, soothing every frayed edge of my existence. The texts and calls from my family had slowed to a trickle, but the weight of their silence felt suffocating. Still, I stuck to my decision. I wasn't going back, not now, not until I felt ready. But the pressure continued to mount. My mother sent another series of frantic messages, each more desperate than the last. "Please. You're the only one who can fix this. Emily needs you. You've always been the one to put things back together. This is tearing our family apart. It was always the same, they needed me. I was the one who always came in and patched things up, who smoothed over the cracks in their lives. But not this time. Not anymore. The day came when I decided to venture beyond the confines of my resort. I took a trip into the local town to explore, to remind myself that there was a world out here beyond my family's mess. As I strolled through the market, the warm air carrying the scents of fresh fruit and salty sea air, I found myself surprisingly at peace. The town was small, charming, filled with a sense of calm that I hadn't realized I was missing. It was here, among the colorful market stalls and the hustle of locals, that I finally let myself feel the full weight of what I had done. I wasn't running anymore. I wasn't avoiding anything. I was living, truly living. But that's when I got the call. I pulled my phone out of my pocket and saw my mother's name flashing on the screen. For a moment, I hesitated. I didn't want to answer, but curiosity got the best of me. Hello? Where are you? My mother's voice was tight, strained, like she'd been holding back tears for days. I'm away. I let the words settle in the air, feeling a strange satisfaction in the calmness of my voice. She let out a shaky breath. We can't do this without you. Emily's a wreck. The wedding is ruined. She's crying all the time, and we need you here. Please. I wanted to say so much, how they'd never appreciated me, how they'd used me as a safety net for their dysfunction, how they never once saw me as more than an ATM or a fixer. But I didn't. I just listened to her, letting the silence stretch between us. I'm not coming back, Mom, I finally said, my voice firm. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. I could almost hear her struggling to find the words. But, no, I cut her off, not giving her the chance to say anything else. I've made my choice. Another silence. I could feel the distance between us, not just physically but emotionally. I wasn't part of their world anymore. I had crossed a line, and there was no going back. When I returned to my resort that evening, the air felt lighter. The sun had set, leaving the sky in shades of pink and orange. The world seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. But I wasn't in a hurry anymore. There was no more rushing. No more scrambling to please anyone. I sat at the bar with a drink in hand, watching the stars begin to flicker overhead. For the first time in years, I wasn't worried. That was when I received another message. This one was from Emily. I can't do this alone. I need you. Please. I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. I read it twice, then put my phone down. It hit me then how deep the cracks in my family went. They needed me. But they didn't really see me. Not for who I was, not for what I did. They just needed someone to fill the empty spaces, to fix what was broken, and then leave when the job was done. I didn't want to be that person anymore. As the days passed, I let myself sink deeper into the luxury of the resort. I woke up to the sound of the ocean, had breakfast on the patio, swam in the crystal clear water. I read books. I took naps. I did everything that made me feel good, and for once, it wasn't about anyone else. It was about me. And then came the message. It was from my mom. The subject line was simple, please call. We need you to fix this. I didn't reply. Instead, I stared at the message for a long time, my finger hovering over the screen. It was tempting to reach out, to try to fix everything. It was tempting to fall back into the role they had cast me in. But I knew if I did, nothing would ever change. I deleted the message and set my phone down. It wasn't until a few days later, while I was lounging by the pool, that I realized I had done it. I had finally stepped away. I had finally let go. The power was in my hands now. I didn't need to play the role of the family fixer anymore. I didn't need to be their safety net. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. The final week at the resort was everything I had imagined and more. I didn't think about home, about my family, not even once. It was like the very air here had stripped me of everything I used to carry, every expectation, every obligation, every fear. I woke up every morning with the sun, had breakfast by the water, and spent hours just being. The world seemed to slow down. Every decision I made now felt intentional, as if I had the power to choose, not just to follow. But as the days passed, I started to realize something. I didn't feel empty anymore. I didn't feel lost. I felt whole. And that's when my phone buzzed again. I had made a pact with myself to stay off it, but somehow, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I'd been too distant for too long. Maybe they had learned their lesson, maybe not. Either way, I opened the message. It was from Emily. But this time, it was different. She wasn't begging or guilt-tripping. I don't know where we went wrong. I thought we were okay. But I think you're right. I'd been a mess, and I never saw it. Thank you for walking away. Maybe it's time I did too. I sat back, the words landing heavier than I expected. I thought I'd feel satisfaction, vindication. But instead, I just felt relief. Like the storm inside me was finally over. 2 days later, I got another call. This time, it was Jack. "Hey man," he said, his voice quieter than I'd ever heard it. "I know this isn't what you expected. I don't know why Mom and Emily acted the way they did. But I just want you to know I respect you for doing this." There was a pause. "I'm not going to try and fix things. I just want you to know I see you, you know? I don't know what you've been through with them. But, yeah. I hope you find peace." I hung up without saying anything. No anger, no sadness. Just calm. Jack had always been the golden boy. But now, for the first time, it felt like we were on equal ground. By the time my flight home finally landed, I was no longer the same person who had boarded the plane a week ago. The weight of my family's expectations, the guilt, the manipulation, it had all fallen away like dead skin. I felt stronger than I ever had before. When I walked through the terminal, I didn't rush home. I didn't go back to the chaos of my old life. Instead, I found a quiet cafe, sat down with a cup of coffee, and just breathed for a while. I wasn't sure what the future held, but for the first time, I wasn't afraid of it. It wasn't until later that evening that I checked my phone one last time. I had a voicemail from my mother. I almost didn't listen, but something compelled me. Her voice was soft, as if she had finally realized how much she had lost. "I'm sorry," she said. "I never understood you. Never really saw you. You were always there, doing everything for everyone. But you didn't deserve any of it." There was a long pause. "I hope you're happy. I hope you know you were loved, even if we didn't always show it." I took a deep breath, the tears stinging the back of my eyes. I couldn't remember the last time I had felt loved by her. But in that moment, I realized something. I didn't need her approval anymore. I didn't need their love to feel complete. The world had finally opened up to me. And I was going to fill it with the things that truly mattered. The phone beeped in my hand. Another message, this time from Emily. But I didn't need to read it. I had my answer. And I had myself. The rest of it, my family, their expectations, their guilt trips, could stay in the past. I was done carrying the weight. Done being the one they turned to when they needed fixing. This was my time. And I was going to live it on my own terms.